Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CR-V 2.2 EX diesel. This particular car is registered NU13XSG. Mileage at the start of the road test is 84,744 miles. The reason we do these videos is very simple. It's basically that we want anyone that's looking at the car in an advert online to actually see that car in operation. We know to our frustration how annoying it can be to travel for hours to go and see a car, which looks great in an advert and the text, only to drive it to find it's got a fundamental issue which you clearly should have been told about before setting off, so that's why we do it. It's also done on part of the test drive route that any potential buyer would go on, so hopefully be representative of what you'd feel yourself if offered a test drive on the car. The car itself has been very, very well looked after, and that's pretty much immediately obvious the second you start it. It starts absolutely instantly, of course. Settles an absolutely smooth, even idle. There are, apart from a low fuel light, there are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. And I'll come to the temperature gauge once the car's warmed up in a second later in the video. Engines themselves are just brilliant engines. I mean, it's all got all the bits you want from a Honda. They're very reliable, they're very, very long lasting, quiet, smooth, very refined. Only really in the lowest gears are you aware it's a diesel. When you're up in sort of third, fourth, fifth, sixth, it's very petrol-like in terms of kind of the sound that the engine emits. It's, you know, got a light sound to it. It's not coarse in any way. It's a wonderful engine, and it's just joyful to use day in, day out, and it suits the car absolutely perfectly. Engine then feeds through clutch into gearbox. Clutch is absolutely as it should be. Bite point is spot on. It's smooth, positive, and actuation. Everything exactly as it should be. Gearbox in the vehicle, 6-speed gearbox, of course, this day and age, and what a fantastic gearbox it is. Can't feel anywhere in the linkage at all on this one. Not that you'd expect on any of the CR-Vs up to hundreds of thousands of miles, but it's just the quality of the gearbox that is astounding, really. It's far sportier than you'd expect in a car of this type, but that's typical of Honda. They really put a lot of effort into these things. So the gear change is precise, it's really short and throw, and it's something that, you know, they happily sit in one of their more sporty offerings. It simply is a brilliant box. It's a sort of bit of an object lesson to other manufacturers and how to do a good gearbox without making something sort of lifeless and pretty much aimless in some cases. But yeah, it's a fantastic gearbox. Steering on the car, which has always been a strong point on the CR-Vs, and this one's no different. Nice size steering wheel, feels sort of quite small in hand. The whole car feels much more agile and manoeuvrable than you'd expect of a car of its type, because the steering's perfectly tuned to the chassis. So it's not over sharp that it unsettles the car, but equally it's not slow or ponderous in any way. It's you know, lovely and accurate. Nicely weighted. Also happens to track absolutely bullet straight. There's no vibrations at all. They come back to the steering wheel at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit. The chassis I've alluded to, again, the Honda know this market wonderfully well. I mean, the CR-V is the best-selling SUV in the world, so they obviously know their market very well. So what they give you is a very comfortable ride without being stupidly pillowy and wallowy, because the problem with cars with a tall centre or, you know, high centre of gravity is corners like the one coming up here. When you turn in with some cars, their natural inclination is just to fall over on soft springs, and it can lead to a lot of sort of pitching and wallowing, which can be particularly unsettling for rear seat passengers. But this is brilliant. It's just very well controlled. Even tight turns, it doesn't feel clumsy or cumbersome in any way. And that's not to say it's a sports car, because it's not. And it beggars belief when you hear road test complaining how the car sort of it doesn't give you kind of sharp handling. Well, of course it doesn't. It's a, you know, if you want that, the offset's going to be a crashy hard ride, because that's the only way you can do it. Suspension's all about compromise, and Honda have done a fantastic job on this. Also, by the way, no nasty noises were coming out from underneath the car, so when you're hitting bumps you'll hear it, but you don't get any kind of chatterings or anything from underneath. The brakes on the car, by the way, going to give it a bit of a shove now, but it's a good solid brake pedal on the car. Pulls the nose of the car down nice and straight, doesn't pull violently left or right when you hit the brake pedal, and there's no vibrations or pulsing coming back through the brake pedal at all. Looking around inside the vehicle, as I quite often say on these videos, it's impossible to just impart how well made these things are. You know, this is 80,000 miles and I might as well be sat in a new car in the sense that it just feels so solid. There's not, I can't hear a single creak or groan from the interior of the car. They are beautifully made. It also happens to be a really lovely place to sit. Being an EX, obviously it's top of the range, so you've got this nice big panoramic roof allowing lots of natural light into the car. So you flick of a switch, you can cover that over with the electric blind, all working perfectly, as is the nice big screen sat nav. Very simple, easy to use. Obviously your telephone goes onto that as well and goes through the hands-free system, and that's blissfully easy to use and install. Down below that you've got the dual zone climate control, so you have different temperatures side to side, all working perfectly. And again, it's just the quality of the switch gear is just brilliant, and you just know in 200,000 miles it'll still feel like that. And again, the same can't be said of some manufacturers that, you know, claim to be sort of high quality. Air conditioning pumps out ice cold air, and checked that earlier this morning, so all perfectly good. Dashboard in front, simple, easy, legible, and now up to temperature gauge running at a third, which is exactly where it should be on a Honda car, by the way. Steering wheel pretty much looks and feels as new in hand. All the things operate exactly as they should. Cruise control working perfectly. You've got auto lights, auto wipers. You know, it's a lovely specification car, this. They are of course four-wheel drive vehicles, although the absence of a switch to activate it will alarm some people, but no need to be, because what Honda have done very cleverly again is work out that most people will drive, as I'm doing today, on perfectly good roads. So why have a four-wheel drive system whirring away, which is all it's going to achieve is, you know, extra fuel gets used, tyres get chewed up more quickly, and you put more mechanical stress through the vehicle. So what this does is runs in front wheel drive the most efficient way the whole time, apart from when it needs to go into four-wheel drive, and it'll do it for you. So if you were in snow or going across a muddy field and the front wheels start to slip, instantly it's a bit like someone giving you a push in the back, nice and gently. It introduces the rear wheels to give you four-wheel drive, and that's it, and it turns itself off just as quickly. It is brilliant in operation, and I've towed many a caravan across many a muddy field and not come close to getting stuck with one. Its simplicity, by the way, also gives it its reliability, because we've never so much as put a spanner on one in the 20 plus years we've been selling these things. As I said at the start of the video, the point is literally just to show the car in operation, but also, as I say, to pick up on any issues there might be, of which there's nothing at all. The car drives absolutely beautifully. It's always easy to sort of make allowance for the fact that yes, it's done 80,000 miles, yes, it's a few years old, so you know, you cut it a bit of slack, for want of a better expression, but the reality is it drives every bit as well as any of it I've driven, and I've taken some with less than 20,000 miles. It feels that tight, that taut, and that fresh. As always though, don't hesitate, please do give us a call, and we will answer any questions you might have about the car.